So what's going on, guys? My name's Max. I'm a bloke of average fitness trying to get to above average fitness, and today we are in Cirencester in Ride 24/7 with Grant from Via Roma, and today we're doing a bike fit.
We certainly are. We're going to get Max nice and efficient. We're going to make sure he's comfortable, have him as efficient as possible.
Now, if you've been watching the videos recently, you'll know that I've been having a lot of leg pain in my left leg, and a bike fit is something that I've been putting off for a long time. And
I mean, cycling is a hard sport in general.
Yeah. And
you want to minimise those discomforts. If you're riding the bike for 3-4 hours, you're always going to have some discomfort, but it's about minimising those and making sure you're as comfortable as possible on those longer rides. Look, you know, buying bikes nowadays is expensive, so it's important to get that right before that next investment. Yeah, 100%.
Nice. So we're going to get into it. We put the bike up on the kicker roller, but we're going to get into it now and hopefully leave with a proper bike that fits me. We'll see how we go.
As regards to placement of the cleats, really the best chance to get into the right position is to get the cleats almost as far back as possible. As regards to where they are forward and backwards, I'd be quite picky there looking at those ones, but we'll certainly check the angles before. I mean, when you look down the back of the cleat there, and the heel is kicking in slightly, that's absolutely right.
Okay.
You know, as a guide for anybody, that if you're just kind of standing relaxed like this, most occasions your feet naturally kind of go out like this.
Right.
Very rare people stand with their feet dead straight, and if you do naturally stand like that and you put your feet straight like that, you'll instantly feel a little bit of force on the outside of the knees. Right. So what you don't want to do is set your cleats so it forces you to do that. You want your cleats to kind of replicate the way your legs and feet would naturally fall.
Sure.
Your left one is almost dead straight to the point where it's actually kicking out.
Okay.
So that one, I would say, is wrong. The left one there, you can see the heel is dead straight, or even maybe the heel is kicking outwards. Yeah. So this needs to replicate the other shoe, which when you look at the other shoe, which is correct, you will look down and you can quite see the heel is kicking in. What we want to do is get both of them consistent with the heel slightly in. I can already see that actually looking at you here, you know, it's almost not straight. So we can definitely get these bars narrower. Now the thing is, what people don't always understand this as well, there are like little minor adjustments which will make you longer. If your bars are wider and your arms go out, it's going to make you longer. If we take this stack height and we drop you and slam you, that's going to make you longer. If your seat goes up, because your seat goes up at an angle, if we take the seat up, it's going to make you longer because it's taking you away from the bars. So there's all these little changes that can have an impact on your reach. One of the things we certainly will focus on is your reach and your saddle height. Dan, what do we think of his reach?
He's reaching quite far, isn't he?
You can see Max is looking quite stretched. Saddle height, I think not too far off on the saddle height, but obviously, you know, we'll use the system to validate that as well. But the reach, we can quite comfortably say you're overstretching there.
How many sensors do you put on here?
8.
It's gonna flash up on the screen over there. Bad. Red. Error.
As we said, hands on the hoods, looking forward, smooth pedaling for sort of 30-40 seconds, and we'll get a snapshot of you and have a look what you look like. Okay, you can stop. Moment of truth. Yeah, absolutely everything. I can always see the numbers straight away. So start with your knee extension, saddle height, okay? This bit here, 134. Probably where I like people between 138 and 140. Now I should probably start at the beginning. This bit here, these are the parameters of an average cyclist.
Okay.
And then what we do is we take each person case by case. Your saddle height could go up a fraction. You know, we'd go up in probably 5 mil increments at a time. And I don't like to make too big a changes to start with. The upper body, where we do have a bit more of a problem. So first of all, if we start with trunk tilt, here, you're more going on the racy side.
Yeah.
So it is quite low.
Yeah.
Okay, you're young, you're fit, your core's good, you can hold that, okay? I normally get the average cyclist in the mid-40s.
Okay.
So you are on the edge. That's if somebody was racing, that's where I'd get them. You don't want to be too low, but equally you don't want to be too upright.
Yeah.
And it is important not to be too upright. Like I say, it's all your hips movement is all nice and solid, and that's because that if you were sitting too high, you would start to rock and try and reach the pedals, and then you might get saddle sore and stuff like this, and you're inefficient, lose power. Nicely locked in, but that's because you're not sitting too high, so that's good. Most important one is your shoulders. It's your reach. It's too long.
Too long.
It's way too long. So I really, for you, I mean, we can make compromises because you are more racy, edgy and stuff like that. I normally get people in the low 80s.
Okay.
And it's about this kind of making it more comfortable over longer rides.
Sure.
Yours is pushing the boundaries of, look, it's in the yellow, it's gone the other way. So what we need to do is we need to get that shortened. And for you at least, we need to be mid-80s. So what we'll do is we'll bring that reach shorter, and what it will do is it will bring your trunk tilt slightly more up.
Right.
So this may just go high 30s, maybe go 40s. So what it will do is it will have a positive impact. We'll bring that into the green, and that might just go into the green as well.
So we're thinking a 42 bar and a 120 stem. And we think that will be the sweet spot and get me in the position that I need to be in, and hopefully fix those red and yellow numbers. So we were just talking about my bar position, because when I got the bike, I tilted the bars up to try and bring the shifters and everything and bring the hoods further up, so it was a bit more ergonomic for me to hold.
So really, with altering the bars, a lot of people make the mistake of undoing the handlebars, swiveling the bars up to bring the brake hoods up to make them feel more comfortable. There's not actually anything wrong with where you place the brake hoods when they further come up. There's nothing wrong with that. But what is wrong is compromising the drops. Key thing is to get this level. So when you're on the drops, when you're descending long descents, you should always descend on the drops. That gives you full control of the handlebars, and certainly within the UK roads, if you're descending long descents on the tops and you're unfortunate and hit a pothole, your hands are more likely to come off the bars. Yes, it does mean you may have to undo the handlebar tape here to then readjust the brake hoods back to where the position you like them. And there's nothing wrong with repositioning them where you like them, but don't compromise the drops.
Got you. Literally in the video that I posted last week with Josh, we were doing some crazy descents and my hands literally came off the bars a couple of times. So it's really interesting that you said that, because yeah, I've literally experienced that exactly. They definitely feel a lot better than where they were, and this feels like
Definitely
when I'm in the drops,
better,
that feels like I've
Supported.
got something to, for a bit of context, before when I was descending, it almost felt like I was like falling off the end. So you can see where my hand is there. It felt like I was coming off the end of the drop there. So bringing it back and under, and now feel like I'm properly like over the top of it, and I've got a lot of leeway in there. I feel way more planted like that.
You're going to be faster and more aggressive now. No excuses.
Yeah, great.
Okay, right, we'll take that up. So that saddle has now gone forward close to 10 mil. Not only has that actually made you probably feel more comfortable, but equally that's made your reach shorter as well. Like, so you could change the stem, but actually if you can move the saddle forward a bit further, it might be a way of shortening it without making some of those changes. And as long as it doesn't compromise things negatively, you can get wins in other areas like that by bringing the saddle further forward.
And do you think, so in changing that saddle position, is that going to have a negative impact on like my knee angle and stuff like that, and the other metrics that are on the screen?
Well, we need to have a look at that as well.
Right,
but obviously, you know, you need to feedback as well equally that, and I think this is the important thing, that it goes on a feedback as well, that, you know, I can make these changes, but also it's equally important for you to tell me how you feel, and I need to take that into consideration when we're making these changes. If you're saying to me, you can already start to initially feel a benefit, then we're moving in the right direction.
It feels, I don't feel like I'm as stretched over. I think overall it just feels a bit more comfortable.
Voila.
All green.
So we've got this bit right here. So your shoulders now come in the reach. So your upper body has all come in line. So actually, like, what we've also done here is your trunk tilt's 40, which is, you know, if we're making you shorter, your trunk tilt's going to come up slightly, but equally your shoulders have now come into 88. So it's in the high 80s. Probably want you slightly shorter, so that maybe that 120 would be on the money. But at the moment, it's had the desired effect. The only thing we want to have a look at is your seat height, because at the moment, we just want to check that that's okay, because at the moment it's showing as it's looking a bit low, but we'll double check that. But at the moment, it's had definitely a positive effect in bringing your saddle further forward for sure. So we've had a bit of an easy win there. Let's just have another ride for me. Let's have another take. So what I want you to do on this one, Max, okay, and I'll explain afterwards, I want you to drop your heel slightly, but really marginal. Okay, don't over exaggerate it, okay? Okay, so you can see here clearly your ankle range of movement here has improved.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all green or yellow.
Yeah.
By changing that technique. Okay. What it has done is that it's now brought your saddle height to exactly where I'd want it. So what we could do is we could say, well, your saddle height needs hiring, but sometimes actually it's the wrong thing to do, because it just means that if you just pedal a bit more efficiently, you're going to bring yourself into the right position. But if I higher your saddle and you start to do that, you're not going to be able to do that because you're sitting too high. Does that make sense? Yeah. With all these numbers now, we can quite nicely kind of go away and say this looks right. Now I'm not surprised some of these numbers are pushed out a little bit more because you've made your leg extension longer.
Right.
So obviously it's going to make like your knee extension slightly longer and everything else. But what it has done is we've brought everything in line from where we were to start with. That's where we need to be. So your saddle height is good. Personally, I do still think that 120 stem is now the final bit to make it absolutely perfect, because what it'll do is it'll bring your reach a bit shorter. I still feel you're overstretching a bit,
right?
And it'll bring this trunk tilt into the green as well, so it'll just bring you slightly up.
Grant literally said just make an effort to drop your heel down, not too much, but just drop it down a little bit on the pedal stroke, and instantly all of that stuff is in the green. That is mental.
It shows that the importance of getting your saddle height right and not being too high, because if you're too high, it's going to have impact on efficiency, it's going to have impact on creating saddle sores, but then equally your pedaling will be compromised as well. So your saddle height is really important to have it right, but you really don't want it too high, like your reach. You don't want it to be overextending, which is going to create all your neck and shoulder pain.
Sure.
Cool. That was useful.
Thank you very much.
You know, I think, like I say, just the icing on the cake is that 120 centimetre stem.
Yeah.
Going down size of stem, we've already put the saddle forward to help get that 120 stem on, and I think you'll be ready. But unfortunately, with the modern bikes, there's a bit more work to do to get that stem changed. But leave it with us.
Is what it is.
Take two.
We'll get that done, and then I will be flying. The cool thing about Grant Space as well is that it's situated in Ride 24/7, the store, and some of the kit they've got in here is mental. They've got a really nice map display and also Panama behind me, which I've liked this kit for a while, and it looks really cool, so I'm gonna have a look. Good lord. If you've been following for a while, Dan and I actually came here back when I was filming on my iPhone, and had a really nice coffee here. So if you're in the local area, definitely come down and get a coffee, because they're a nice bunch of guys. All right, bike fit done. Via Roma out of Ride 24/7, absolutely sorted me out. I think I've got enough information now to go dial in the Pinarello a little bit more. And to be fair, the changes that he's made already, there was a big difference between when I went in and how I've come out, so I'm pretty happy with that. I've got a ride tomorrow, so I will report back on how the bike feels, but to be honest, it's looking really, really good. Be interesting to try that straight seat post and see if that makes any difference, so we'll see how it goes. But if you're in the local area, Cotswolds area, definitely try and come down to Ride 24/7. They've got a lot of stuff on show, and if you need a bike fit done, Via Roma, I'll leave a link in the description. Check them out. I did actually end up going for a ride yesterday, but I didn't film anything. Long story short, the bike felt so much better. I'm going to continue to sort of see how I go on the bike over the next sort of coming weeks and months, but I could tell just from, I think we only did about 60k, and already I noticed a massive difference in terms of how comfortable I was on the bike, and also the amount of pain I was getting in my left knee was way below what it normally is. So that is a very, very good step in the right direction. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you made it this far, I really, really appreciate it. Drop a comment down below. Make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe if you enjoyed the videos. And I will see you guys next week.